saying districts won't be let out of. He will not back up. He will not change his posture on the implementation of Common Core standards. In addition, it is a copyrighted product and can only be altered. The 15% can be added by states, but it cannot be reduced or changed otherwise. Whatever 15% Ohio might potentially add would not be tested on the assessment. So that's kind of an irrelevant potential addition there. By essentially nationalizing these standards, the ability for parents, teachers, and local school boards to control academic content and testing is ceded to groups in a faraway capital. It's interesting to note that the loudest voices against President Bush's No Child Left Behind Act, which passed in 2003, said at the time that teachers shouldn't be forced to teach to the test. Many of those same people now say that states need to adopt these standards and their corresponding tests in order to compete in the global arena. Common Core is No Child Left Behind on steroids. I've heard and I need to redact this because I've changed my testimony, but I had heard that members of the Ohio Education Association, despite the letter that we received today, are concerned with the Common Core standards and what that will do to teachers and their ability to have latitude in teaching in the classroom. And so I know that we received a letter from the OEA today endorsing, opposing my bill, but I think if you speak to several of the members, you will find, and I will present members to testify that they have objections to Common Core and how that's impacting them in the classroom. I'm also the husband of a teacher who has actually participated in some of the teacher improvement and has been part of what they have been required to do. She's in Spanish, so I don't know if the Spanish standards are in process right now, but certainly she has been impacted by components of Race to the Top. And I know that the American Federation of Teachers has expressed serious reservation about the assessments that will be used to evaluate teachers. So there's concern there that how the evaluations assessments will impact teachers. And again, as we talk about the latitude that local districts have, teachers will be evaluated on how well their students have absorbed the Common Core standards. And so how much latitude do you have? Are you going to teach stuff that you're not going to be evaluated on? Likelihood is probably not. Instead of making our children college ready and raising education standards throughout the nation, Common Core enshrines what education experts call mediocre standards and treats our children as merely robots that to be programmed for the nation's economic welfare, not as human beings to be educated. It's important that our state produce kids who apply their best individual talents and gifts to whatever field they choose. As a small business owner, I am looking for people who can think on their own and work hard every day. It's these types of virtues that need to be inculcated in the next generation. What we should seek in education is the development of the intellect, not mere vocationalism. Today I present House Bill 237, which would effectively repeal Common Core standards in the state of Ohio, prohibit the State Board of Education from using any assessments based on Common Core standards, and stop any mining of data that is not strictly tied to basic administrative needs. I've worked with LSC to produce a substitute bill that will require any data beyond aggregate data to be provided only with the informed written consent of a student's parent or legal guardian. It will also reassert the importance of local control over content standards. It sets requirements for the State Board of Education and makes changes to the statewide content standards. It says that the state cannot punish schools or school districts for their failure to adopt the statewide academic content standards or the state assessments. We need to ask serious questions about Common Core and understand its implications. The general lack of knowledge about Common Core in the public at large seems to indicate a desire on the part of its advocates perhaps to limit public input in the process. And I know some polls have been done. I think Pioneer Institute did a poll which showed that more than 60% of the American public had no idea about Common Core, did not know what it was all about. I think if you took a poll of the state legislature, unless you were very involved in the Common Core process, you were probably not well informed on what Common Core is all about and the implications for your teachers and your schools and everyone else. So I plead guilty to that as well. I sit on the Education Committee. I've been on the Education Committee for 3 years, but as of last December, when I was hearing the concerns about this, I was not aware of what Common Core was all about. I was not aware of the funding streams associated with Common Core. I was not aware of the waivers that got us, that permitted us to know how to adopt them. So we're still learning about it, and the public is learning about it. And I think today's hearing is a reflection of the concern that the grassroots have, not just in Ohio, but in other states like Kentucky and certainly Indiana, Michigan, Florida, and elsewhere.